All right, I'm live on Instagram. Don't think I'm quite live. There we go. We are live on all platforms: Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. As usual, I'm going to give you a minute. Pop in, say hello, say good morning. I did miss you guys last week. I was in Boston, and I had never been to Boston, so that was cool. Just simply, I love new cities and I love walking around cities and just kind of checking things out. And so I really enjoyed just exploring a new city and being there with the people that I was there with, all of the top health and wellness people in the world, like the people changing the face of medicine, and to have the opportunity to just pick their brains and hang out with them and learn what they're doing and see the lives that they're changing, just for me is always just a reminder that, you know, what we do can actually bring some good to the world. And so that was really cool as well. Can you guys hear me and see me okay? I have some tile work going on. Oh, are you coming to say hi? I have some tile work going on in the house. So all my dogs are in here with me. So some of you can see Hank back there sleeping. I've got Piggy over here. Yes, Piggy's not in the camera. She's there. I've got Emma asleep over there. So it's the dog pound. It's the Pingle dog pound in the live today. So if you guys can hear me okay, please give me the hey, 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 Naya, how are ya? I get the heart, the little smile. Yes, the Pingle dog pound. So yeah, and Piggy's looking at me like, but aren't I the star? Aren't you the star? She is the star, but on the chair to the side. So I've had a conversation with almost kind of a similar conversation with many people this week from my clients. So I thought, okay, this must be a topic that we need to talk about. So we're going to talk about vision and commitment, because I mean, just the stats alone of how many people hold to their health, you know, their health vision or their health goals are ridiculously low. I mean, most people do not, right? Maybe you'll hop on a 6-week nutrition plan and you're doing really well, and then comes along week 7, or you go on vacation or something happens and you fall off the wagon, right? And yet our health is the one thing that, if we invest in it, actually will allow us to live a more full life, right? And all of us want a more full life. So I want to talk about a little bit about goal setting and ask you guys a lot about what keeps you from committing. Because I've always wondered ever since, well, let me give you a little bit of history. So when I went into medicine originally and decided to go into medicine, I was very interested in veterinary medicine, and I was working on animals. And what I loved about veterinary medicine was that you really have to be intuitive and you have to learn to watch behavior, right? So I was working in a cat hospital, yeah, and cats are not easy to draw blood from or put catheters in or whatever. And so the cat would come along and I would have to read that cat's body language to know when I need to back off or when I can come in. And humans are very similar. We don't always watch these little cues, but over the years, as I've moved into human medicine, I've learned to watch cues in people. Watch the way that they speak, watch the way that they hold their body. When I'm on camera with them or in an office visit, how are they looking at me? What's their body position? Things like that. And I can tell from that a lot what they're going through, and also whether or not they're committing to their health plan. And so I would encourage you to kind of take a second and think about, okay, what do I do when I'm not committing, right? And why don't I commit? Does anyone know? You know, there was statistics I was just reading about New Year's resolutions, and overwhelmingly the New Year's resolutions are about diet, fitness, and weight. Like overwhelmingly, like 40% say they want better fitness, 35% say they want a better diet, and 35% want to lose weight, right? They're not, and the other goals are all financial for the most part, right? And we know without a doubt that about 94% of people who make a New Year's resolution will not keep it. And the average duration of them keeping it is about 2 months. Would you guys agree with that? Hey, I'm going to go to the gym, right? You get through 2 months and then maybe 3 months. And then all of a sudden it's less and less and less, right? Why? Anyone? Anyone agree? Anyone struggling with this? Like, give me some feedback. Otherwise, I don't know whether to keep going or not. Give me something. Steve says, hi, Steve. It's super terrible to not be able to find that elusive on the on switch to commit. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If there's anything else in your life that you're going to commit to, let's say that you're going to get married. You're going to commit to a person, right? You just got to jump in. You just got to do it. You got to work it out. You got to deal with the fights. You got to deal with the stuff that happens. You got to make it work. You take a job. You have bad days. There are days you want to quit. Why don't you? Because you won't get paid, right? So when it comes to money, we push ourselves, money and relationships, we push ourselves so far beyond our boundaries in order to keep it together, right? But we don't do that with our health. Why? You know, the bottom line is every day is not going to be great. And every opportunity presented to you is going to have a healthier option than another option. So what makes that difference? I think it's community and accountability. Now, why? Okay, so one thing is, if you look at some of these statistics on New Year's resolutions, the people that last the longest are people that are using fitness apps or following some sort of specific diet program or set themselves up with a trainer, right? Or some sort of meditation app or something that prompts them, reminds them to do it, right? Why do people do so well during my Tonal Energy Turnaround program? Because I'm there every week calling them out if they didn't, right? Not in a mean way. I don't mean it that way. Don't be scared. But I mean, like, I'm sitting there saying, hey, where are you struggling? Talk to me. Like, let's work this out. You have a cheerleader. You have a hand holder. My concierge clients know they can reach out to me at any point when they're falling down, right? So I can come in and help lift them back up and help get them back on track. That's community. That's support. When you feel alone, you don't commit to something so well, right? When you're committing to a job, you're committing to a team, you're committing to an outcome, you're committing to a project. When you're committing to a spouse, you're committing to someone else and you're doing this together, right? So why is it we don't look at health in that way? Right? Why is it that we can't just commit to it? And I think it's because we don't have really realistic visions and goals for why we're doing it. When we know why, we do it more often, right? They say embrace the suck. I don't struggle with it, but I know a lot of people that do. Yeah. So here's a little exercise. And this is what I do. And because I struggle too, right? I don't, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to Pilates today, or I don't feel like going here and there. But what I have to do is anytime that I'm finding myself about to maybe make a decision that isn't as strong for my body, and this could be all the way across the board. Maybe I'm making a choice to do something that's way too stressful and I know it, right? I have to stop and I have to think, what are my ultimate goals? My goal, and I picture this in my head every single time, I have it drawn in my head to a T, is I want to take my grandchildren to Disneyland and walk the whole park. I want to ride roller coasters. I want to go to Europe with my husband and I want to walk the cities. I don't want to be able to say, I can't go because I'm immobile, or I can't go because I'm disease ridden. Now, granted, we don't always have control over what diseases we get, but we can always put our first foot forward in trying to prevent that, right? Preventative medicine, checking my labs every year, making sure I'm making wise choices, paying attention to what my body is saying, giving it proper sleep. Things like this are so important. And they do this in other cultures. Have you ever noticed that? If you go to other healthier cultures, even the blue zones, I don't even think it's so much about their diet. It's about the fact that they have community. They sit at the table, they eat dinner together, they eat slowly. Oh, hi, City of Spice. So City of Spice, one of my absolute favorite Indian restaurants, just joined, and they're like, oh, this is the lady that orders like 8,000 pounds of food. I do. And I sit with my family and I eat it for 3 days because I love it so much. But there's a culture where you gather, right? And you have community support. You all lean on each other. And I think that's really important because it helps keep you accountable for what you're trying to accomplish. It's expected that you're going to walk everywhere when you're 90 years old. But in America, it's expected that we're going to be in the nursing home at 90 years old, right? Not everyone has community or support, but we appreciate those of you that share your input. But you do have community and support. I'm a community right here. I'm supporting you right here every single Friday. I am. There is community. It may not be, I don't have my parents anymore. I don't have any siblings. The community I grew up with is gone. I have neighbors. I have, local, some people go to church. Some people, venture out and volunteer at places. Maybe you have people in a workplace, right? We do have community. We just don't always have the self-confidence or the, maybe we're too stressed out to recognize the community. There are a lot of people out there. There's online communities. There's, cultural communities. There are, right? But I do think we don't always recognize it because maybe we think our community needs to be our family, right? And sometimes it isn't. Sometimes the dynamic of the family is too toxic or the family is gone, as in my case. So I just want to argue on that a little bit because there is community. Maybe you haven't found your peeps yet, but they are there. And if you want to start with community, you can start with coming here every single Friday morning. I will be here. I will be part of your community. Nice to meet you. Right? I don't know. So why don't people commit? I honestly think it's that we maybe don't feel like we can, or we set goals that are so lofty. We focus on something small, like I'm going to lose 10 pounds instead of I'm going to become stronger so that I can walk Disneyland when I'm older, right? So I would encourage you to not just set the goals that are 60 days or 90 days, but really look at what are you trying to achieve? How much are you thank you, hon, you're a rock star as well. How much are you trying to save up for if you were retiring, right? And you're like, okay, I'm going to take $100 out of every paycheck for X amount of years. You can calculate out how much money you're going to make for your retirement. I would encourage you to look at health in the exact same way. What is your retirement goal? How long do you want to live? And how do you want the quality of your life to be at that time? Now, this may come down to little metrics. Maybe your glucose is high and you're like, I want to lower my glucose by 20 points. Well, then you can sit down and say, I want to lower my glucose by 20 points. Here are the things I have to do in order to do that. And then every single day you look at it. So you're not looking at, I'm going to reverse diabetes. You're not looking at, I'm going to lose weight. You're looking at, how can I lower my blood sugar number by 10%, right? And you're looking at the small achievable goal. And when you hit that, you open up a new goal, right? With the ultimate goal of reversing disease. So I just wanted to chat with you guys about this because one of the things that circled in my world a lot and that people keep saying is, Dr. Pingle, why don't you have a community like this? Why don't you have an accountability community? And I would actually really enjoy that. I don't know how many people would be interested in it. And I don't know, with as far as my time commitment, what I can say yes to or not say yes to, but I think at the very minimum, those of you that show up here every single Friday are already creating an absolutely beautiful community for each other. I see these same names pop up all the time. I lost a lot of people on Instagram. Do you guys not like the topic? It's like everyone's like, bye. I mean, the bottom line is 96% of people will give up on their goal. And the people that don't set very distinct goals, right? And lean on each other for support. So here's the assignment today. And this is a live Q&A. So you guys can definitely, start asking questions. It's all good. Start popping them down. I'll get to them. But when I look at this and I go, okay, so the number one thing I want you to do today is figure out who your community is. Who are your peeps? Real or not? Online or not, in person or not real. Of course they're real, but like we have all these communities. Communities can be online. I have an amazing concierge community with my group. I have a bunch of people in a WhatsApp group and they are just freaking awesome. And they lift each other up all the time. I watched my Total Energy Turnaround program create this little pod of women that committed to each other, lift each other up, supported each other. And it was freaking incredible. There was nothing more I could have done to make them any more amazing. I mean, I had the fortunate ability to witness it, which was awesome. It wasn't my advice that I'm sure touched them as much. It was each other. And we've lost a lot of that, right? We've lost that putting our heads in technology. We've lost that in this go-to-go lifestyle. This stress that I talk about all the time, adrenal fatigue, is keeping us from building our community. It's making us feel alone. Is it Amy or Amy? right? It makes us feel alone because we're so busy and we're so bogged down that we feel like we don't have anybody, but we do. I think we just need to slow down a little bit and look for these people, even if these people are virtual, even if it is me on Friday. That's cool. I'll take you. Anyway, I just wanted to give a little inspirational message there for you guys to think about and really sit down and say, why? Why should I eat vegetables for dinner? Right? What am I giving myself? Why is this important? It's not just about, it's not just about the next 90 days. It's about the rest of your life, because health, if you don't have health, you don't have life. You could make all the money in the world. You could have 800 houses. You could have a great job. You could have whatever. But if you don't have health, you sure can't enjoy it. Right? So we set all these goals for ourselves in every other aspect of our life except health. And I think we really need to start shifting that perspective because it's really important. Okay? So you guys can do it. All right. It's an investment in your long-term health. It is. So all of you, just sit down and write. What are your goals in life? And I don't want weight to be on there. That's how you get somewhere. Does that make sense? Like, so if I say, you're like, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds. That's my goal. I'm like, no. You want to improve your metabolic health so that you can walk Disneyland with your grandkids. How do you do that? Well, one of the things I have to do is I have to lose 20 pounds. You're right. You do. That's a task of a bigger goal. Does that make sense? We always make the weight the top goal, but it's actually a sub goal. Because why do we want to lose weight? We want to lose weight so that we're healthier, right? Healthier for what? So we can do what? So we can look some way or be some way or go somewhere or do whatever, right? So that's a step. That's not the goal. The goal is to be active, probably, and to live a long and fulfilling life where you're not reliant on the medical system. I don't want to be reliant on the medical system when I'm a senior, right? So in order to do that, I have to keep a healthy body weight. I have to exercise. I have to eat right. I have to keep my mind clear. I have to sleep, right? Thank you. It is. All right. We do, because we do. She says, great point. And I'm like, yeah, it's true. We tend to pick the little item as the goal. But what's the big vision? Why bother losing weight if you don't know why that's going to help you? I've seen people lose weight and still be ridiculously metabolically unhealthy. So was their goal just to lose weight? Because if that's the fact, I'll tell you what, if that's the fact, they never feel like they've lost enough. It's a never ending cycle, right? So what's the goal of losing weight? The goal of weight is to improve your metabolics, to improve your energy production so that you can go do whatever you want to do, right? So start big. What's your ultimate goal? How do you see your life? Not how do you see your looking, but how do you see your life? And then below that comes those little things. Okay, well, in order to get there, I have to lose weight. Well, in order to get there, I have to lower my cholesterol. Well, in order to get that, how do I lose weight and lower my cholesterol? Well, I have to be doing exercise every single day. Okay, well, how much exercise? Well, I have to be doing this amount of exercise. What do you need to eat? Well, I need to eat foods like this. And if you break it down with big goal and then what you need to accomplish each of those goals, and you commit to that and you look at it every single day, I'm going to bet that percentage will change on who sticks with it and who doesn't, because you're paying attention to your why. Right? Not just some arbitrary goal. Does that make sense? Does that help? Any of you going to do this? And then I want you to reach out to someone in your community to hold you accountable. I want you to state it out loud. Does anyone have any visions they want to state just right now? Put it in there. State it. Put it out there. I'm going to XYZ so that I can XYZ. Anyone? Come on. Give it to me. I want to see it. Maria says, great idea to identify our communities. We all probably unknowingly have several communities to support us. If not, our goal can be to join communities that inspire us. I love that. Do you know that when my mom died, I probably needed my community more than anything. And do you know what I did? I withdrew from it. I didn't talk to my best friend for like 8 months. I felt alone. Like I had no one to support me, like I had to go through this on my own. When in reality, I had a huge community waiting to support me, but they didn't want to push me and they were waiting for me to reach out and say, help me. I'm not okay. And my pride because I power through, didn't let me reach out to them. And that was my mistake. And one of my health goals moving forward in my life that I've created since then is I will ask for help when I need help. I will be vulnerable when I need vulnerable, because being vulnerable and asking for help will help me hit my ultimate health vision. Having a community will help me get to my health goals. I made a mistake there, but I learned from it and I won't ever do it again. But are there any of you out there that feel the same way? Like you're in the middle of something, all the crap's coming down, you're not in a good place, but you feel like you have no one. I'm going to ask you, do you really have no one, or are you withdrawing from the people that want to help you? Hello from Los Angeles. Well, hello. Yeah, do you guys agree? Anyone have anything they want to just state to put it out in the open? And then I'll jump into these questions. No? Everyone's afraid. Was this helpful at least? At least give me something. Was it helpful? Thumbs up, hearts. Yes, this was great. No, this wasn't, Dr. Pingle. I'm scared of you. I'm not going to do any of this. What do we got? Give me something here. Because I do think it's important. And I think if you commit to it, you'll find yourself being more successful. Thank you for the heart. I appreciate it. All right, I do have a question, so I'm going to jump into those. For those of you that are new here, this is a live Q&A. I am Dr. Tricia Pingle. I'm a naturopathic physician. I'm a specialist in stress and cortisol. So I can help you go from that wired and tired state to the calm and connected state so that you can live your life with energy, authenticity, and also have a little fun. How does that sound? That's what I'm going to do, right? So if you're new, feel free to ask questions. Love to answer them. I'll always do my best, especially if they circle around energy, cortisol, and stress. You know, that gets me way excited. Someone asked me in Boston, and then I'll jump into the question. I see one about fatty acids, I think. I was asked in thank you for the hearts. In Boston, someone asked me, they said, what really pisses you off? What really breaks your heart? And what can you do to fix it? And I thought those were some fantastic questions, because I'll tell you, there's a lot that pisses me off and a lot that breaks my heart, but there's also a lot that we can do to fix it. So it was kind of a cool little exercise. I encourage you to think about that. All right, I saw a question about fatty acids. Let me scooch back. Actually, there was something before that from HealthNet, I think. Let me look. When I was ill, the impetus that let me on my journey to regain my health was the desire to be here for my kids. Ooh, me too. So I did what I needed to do every day so that would happen. That was 22 years ago. I love that. And I can relate with that so much, because both of my parents died young and they didn't get to spend time with their grandchildren. My dad never met his grandchildren. He never even made my wedding. And I was his only child. And my mom met her grandchildren, but died shortly after. And they were both very young. And I can guarantee you that they did not go into life thinking, I'm going to die at 59 and 69 years old. And I thought, I have to do everything I can to not only help my health to be here for a longer period of time, but even more importantly, in HealthNet, you may agree with this, okay? But even more importantly, be present while I'm still here, because I could die tomorrow and I will never know, right? And so what I do today matters. The choices that I make today matter. They matter for not only me, but also for my kids. What I say to them, how I treat them, the lessons that I impart on them. If today was my last day, would I be happy with the way I spent my day with my kids? And I think it does when you start to look at it as a legacy, health being a legacy to somebody else, it does help you commit to those goals. So first of all, congratulations, 22 years of committing to your health goals deserves a ton of recognition. And I hope you sharing that has helped other people here understand that it's doable. Okay, that's great. Do I have an opinion on C15 fatty acids? You know, I don't. I haven't used them specifically. So C15 fatty acids are basically a more potent fatty acid supplement, right? The benefits of fatty acids are vast. I mean, as far as neurological health, weight management, energy management, cellular health. Our cells are made out of fat. So that's why a lot of those anti-fat diets don't always work, because we need them. But I do want to say this when it comes to fatty acids in general. So let's just speak fatty acids and fatty acid supplements like omega-3 and things like that. The one thing that does happen when bodies are under stress is we don't break the fats down well. So a lot of the times we're taking the fatty acid supplement, but we're not getting the benefit of it. So we're spending a ton of money on a fatty 15 or some really high quality fish oil, but we're actually not getting the benefit of it. So it is really important with any supplement that you're also looking at what is your digestive health. Are you breaking these things down? Are they making a difference? What are your labs doing when you start them? I've had people that have been told, well, if you just take fatty acids, you just take omega-3s, your cholesterol is going to change. And they've taken them and we've watched the metrics and their cholesterol hasn't changed. I have other people where it has. So I think there's other factors always involved when it comes to supplementation. And I think stress is one of them. How much stress is the body under? And is it actually utilizing and breaking down the supplement that you're putting into it? Yeah. It's a great question. When the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change, you'll do something different. Yeah. Well, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome, right? I mean, you can't do the same thing. It's so easy to be comfortable, isn't it? Just comfortable in what we're in. It's just easier, right? But we're not growing when we're comfortable. We're only growing when we're uncomfortable. I mean, I have some things coming up that are literally scaring me to death. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to do that. But I know that's good because I know it's going to push me. It's going to challenge me and I'm going to grow from it, even if I fall flat on my face. But very good point. Yes, thanks. Oh, you're welcome. That's all my questions. Oh, okay. We've got Carol. Okay. I'm reaching out for support. I have been done wrong by a narcissist man in a long-term relationship of 12 years. A lot of finger pointing towards me. I apologize. He didn't accept my apology. So I'm moving on and realize I am better off. Yes, I've been hurt. It is best for me. Yeah, Carol. I think, once again, it's easy to stay because that's what you're used to. And it's scary to leave because it's different. But leaving is growth, right? Changing is growth. Recognizing your own self-worth and standing up for yourself is something that I would love to see every single person do and very much see more women do. And you have my support and my love. And I've had very close friends of mine that have been in a very similar situation, and they are all thriving now that they've moved on and they've gone. So I would encourage you, reach out and have someone help you with this. Get a counselor, get somebody on your side that can help you walk through this, because there's going to be a lot of pain points and there's going to be a lot of regret, or what feels like regret, just because it's new, and it's going to feel uncomfortable because it's new. But that's okay. So have someone there to help you get through those moments. Lean out to friends, lean out to communities, join a support group, get involved. I would highly encourage you to get involved with some sort of activity with a group of other women. Not necessarily in the same situation, just a group of other women, Carol. So do that for me. You promise you do that for me? Reach out, find your community, the church, the local club down the street, a book club, something. There's something somewhere. Find these people and start to build yourself as you without that attack on you. And you are a beautiful soul and a beautiful human being. And I thank you so much for being here. Thank you. All right. So how do we get our bodies to better utilize the nutrition we put into it and the supplements? Right. You have to start to address the adrenal fatigue. You have to start to address the stress. And you'll see this if you look at my book, if you do one of my programs, if you work on me one-on-one, all of these ways that I work with people are looking at those 4 aspects of healing the adrenal glands. Nutrition matters. So the nutritional density has to be much higher because you're not absorbing as much of it. So you have to really, really hone in on nutritional density. Exercise that also calms the body and focuses the body. Okay. So having moments where maybe you're strength training or walking, but you're also very present in your environment. You're bringing your cortisol levels down. Supplements are going to have to be at a lot higher dose, most likely, because you're not going to be absorbing all of them at first, but you can also take other supplements that help break supplements down, like digestive enzymes, for example, or being calm when you eat. Right? When you take them, being in a calm state, so your digestion is working. The fourth part is mindset. And this is really where the key is, because you actually have the power to calm your body down and allow it to absorb these nutrients. We just don't. We eat on the run. We shove supplements in our mouth. We run to the next thing, right? But we actually have the ability to put ourselves in a calm state and absorb our food. I don't know. I used to notice when my body was really run down, my adrenals were really taking over, that when I would take like a vacation and I would be totally relaxed with friends or whatever, I didn't get stomach aches when I ate. But when I was at home running around, I would get stomach aches, right? But when I had my body relaxed and I was just chilling out, like my body would work, oddly enough. Many people notice this. I had someone recently say that when they went to Europe, they went on vacation, they forgot about work, and all of a sudden all their symptoms went away, right? So I think really looking at the combination of our head is connected to our body, our brain and our gut communicate, right? And cortisol runs it all. It's always going to try to save your life, always. So it's going to downregulate all of that. So it's really addressing it from a holistic standpoint. And once again, kind of going back to the earlier conversation, you have your goals for what you want to do with your health, and there's all these little things below it. And adrenals have to be addressed. They're one of those things that has to be addressed. Carol says, thank you. I've been worn down, but I am strong. I hear you and will take your advice. Good. I hope you come back next Friday and tell me what group you joined. Something that I did to get myself out of a low situation was I asked myself, what did I love to do when I was a kid? And number one, I loved to build little houses out of books. I had tons of books and I would build like little Barbie houses. So I love to decorate and remodel. It's one of my favorite things. So sometimes I'll like take on a project at that point, like I'll grab an old table and I'll refinish it and paint it and whatever. The other thing I love to do is dance, listen to music in general, but dance to the music even more. So I started listening to music around the house. So when I'm doing my chores or I'm working, I always have music playing, and I dance now 3 times a week. And I decorate, move things around, and refinish things. Maybe I buy a plant. Maybe I put a plant in a different corner, something that helps me feel like I'm arranging those books into something, right? So look at the things that you loved as a kid before this whole situation happened. What did you love to do? And go find a way to do it. That's advice for all of you. How long do you recommend taking berberine? As long as you need it, right? First of all, berberine is not a magic pill. And it's marketed that way. Oh, take berberine and your insulin levels will go down. Oh, take berberine and, it has all these benefits. And berberine has amazing benefits, by the way. Not knocking the power of berberine. If you get a high quality berberine, I've seen some amazing things happen from it. But it doesn't work alone. So if you're wanting to improve your insulin and glucose and you're taking berberine for that purpose, you have to also do the lifestyle stuff with it. So it's similar to like if you were to take metformin for diabetes, right? And you didn't do anything with the diet, you can only go so far. There's still inflammation in the body, regardless of metformin, right? So metformin might bring the numbers down, but the inflammation still remains and the side effects of metformin still remain. So with berberine, if you're just taking the berberine, but you're not changing the rest of the lifestyle, you can still have disease development. It won't prevent you from that. Now, if you're doing it together, it can accelerate the process, which is great. Berberine is also a fantastic antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory. So when used correctly in conjunction with the lifestyle, it can really make a huge difference. I've seen great improvements in hemoglobin A1C, insulin, and glucose with someone doing berberine who's also doing stress reduction and lifestyle measures. And people would argue, many of the conventional side will say, well, it's the stress reduction and the lifestyle measures that did it, not the berberine. And those can do it alone. They can. I think the berberine helps move it along a little bit faster in the right scenario. But berberine by itself probably won't do it. Maria says, reading and enjoying your book. Awesome. Started taking ashwagandha supplements and was amazed at how they really help sleeping better and feeling calmer overall. Thank you. Oh, that's so sweet of you. Would you allow me to take a screenshot without your name and share that so that people can see the benefit that you received? I can cross your name out. Let me know if I have permission to do that. I'd love to do that. I think people need to understand that it's not always that complicated. It's just understanding what's happening. And if you can understand what's happening, my book she's talking about is Total Health Turnaround. So it has a whole section on supplements and supplements for adrenals. And it also goes into each, thank you, Maria, I appreciate that, each individual like major condition in our country. Do you have GERD? Do you have thyroid issues? Are you perimenopausal, menopausal? Do you have cardiovascular disease, immune system, insomnia, anxiety, depression, those types of things that we use a lot of medications for, and talks about how stress impacts them and what you can do about it. This is a great jumpstart. If you're just like, okay, I want to do this on my own, this is a good way. And what, it's like $20 some. Carol says, love her book. Thank you. If you guys bought it on Amazon, write a review, please. No, everyone's like, you have no reviews. I'm like, I swear, people say they love it. Or send me a message or something with a review that I can post. I don't have to use your name. Your book is fantastic. Thank you, Naya. So, any other questions, guys? I have a few more minutes and then I'm heading off to record a podcast. Did today help at all? We do have community. We do. But our current lifestyle is pulling us out of it. And it's making us feel like we don't. And you see this in mental health rise. You see this in kids' depression. You know, we're making feel like we're supposedly the most connected we've ever been, but we're also the most disconnected we've ever been. And that disconnect is causing a major impact on our health and our ability to commit to our health, right? What is the podcast? What is the podcast I'm recording today? I've been recording about 2 podcasts a week, so sometimes I forget what day it is. Inspired Living podcast with Julie Michelson. Or Mickelson. I'm not sure. I am recording today. But I just released 2 in the last 2 weeks. Recorded another one on Monday with Dr. Betty Murray. It's a fantastic one that's going to come out, I think, in August. So I've been recording 1 to 2 a week lately. You know, when they're released is never really known. Sometimes they all come out on the same day or they're dripped over the next 6 months. But yeah, it's fun. I've really been enjoying doing that. For those of you that are podcast listeners, I think if you just go into like Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts and you just type in my last name, I think all the ones I've done have pulled up. And so if you want to keep on top of what the recent ones that have been released, that might be a good way to find it. Yeah, the one with Dr. Susan Fox was released. That was a great one. She's lovely. She's such a lovely woman. And I know her personally. I saw her in Boston. She is just all heart and just heart of gold. Any suggestions for public speaking, helping your throat so you can talk for a half an hour straight? Yeah. So why does our throat close up when we publicly speak? Think about that. It's that sympathetic nervous system, isn't it? We're running from a bear. So our body goes, right? There's a bear. We just gotta go. We just gotta run. So breathing, right? And structure that into your speech. Structure breathing in. So like even in your notes, if it has to say breathe, I do that a lot, especially when I do master classes and stuff, because I get nervous when I do master classes for you guys. I don't get so nervous on the live because I'm kind of you can't plan for it. But when it comes to master classes where I have like a speech, I get nervous. And I actually, in my script, it says breathe, take a breath, slow down. Also, a lot of visualizations ahead of time. Practice enough, but not too much, because the bottom line is when you public speak, people aren't really necessarily listening to what you're saying as much as they're feeling your energy and they're vibing with you. So relax and just be you, right? Just be you and show you and your personality. I think if all of us lived a little bit more, if a little bit more authentic to who we are as people, we wouldn't be so nervous for that type of thing. But I think we just feel like we have to be something else. So as far as things you can also do, there is a tea called Throat Coat, which just kind of keeps the throat hydrated, tons of water. But honestly, the reason why it's happening is the sympathetic nervous system is tightening up, right? So you have to things that relax you. I dance. So if I'm going to go on stage, I'm hoping to God there's a DJ that can bring me up with Snoop Dogg. Because as soon as I start dancing and getting in my vibe, I'm good, right? But up until that point, I'm like, oh my God, right? So what makes you relax, right? You could do things like valerian. I find that when I do stuff like that, though, I lose a little bit of my spunk. So I've just learned to embrace the spunk and embrace the mistakes and just be me. And usually it comes out better than I think with podcasts, I do a little bit of review ahead of time. I know the podcast, I know what questions in general we're going to be talking about. And then I just let it fly. And you'll see that. You'll listen to one podcast and I sound really polished and on it. And then you might listen to another one and I kind of fumble over my words a little bit. And I've just learned that it's an energy and it's whatever energy I show up with that morning. Right? Yes, I know I am me. Right? So I'm going to give you permission for your speech to just be you and enjoy the moment. And why are you there? What are you doing it for? What's the purpose, right? Like if it's just your job and you're like, oh, I just have to do this, like find a reason to do it. Like what's your ultimate vision for that? Anytime, and this goes back to the beginning of the conversation, but anytime in your life where you find your opposition something, you're like, whoa, I don't know. I'm really nervous for that. I don't know if I want to do that. I'm not sure. And you find yourself kind of pulling yourself away from it. That's the time to stop, take a deep breath, reconnect with what your ultimate goals are, and ask yourself, does this take me towards my goals or not? And if it does, you do it. And if it doesn't, you don't. And you find a solution either way. So you can do it or can't do it. Yeah. All right. So sorry I missed last week. Kind of a low turnout today in numbers, but I hope you guys will watch this on the replay. I should be here every Friday now moving forward. I think for quite a while. I have a small trip coming up in September, but I still plan on holding my live if I can. So anyway, so hopefully you'll still see me here every single Friday. And if you are watching this on replay, please come back next Friday, ask some questions. Hi. I see a hello. So anyway, if this was helpful, share, like, comment. Nice to see you guys here. I'm going to go pop up, do a podcast, and then, okay, wish me luck. I'm reaching out to my community here. Then I'm taking my son to the DMV to get his driver's license. I don't know whether to cry or smile or like worry or trust. Oh, but I trust him. He's a good driver. So I guess it's time. I got to let the little guy fly. So I'm kind of nervous about it. And then originally the DMV was going to, or the driver instructor was going to take him to the DMV to get his license. And it turned out that I'm going to have to take him. And I'm actually really happy that I have the time this afternoon to do that because I want to be there when he gets his license. I don't want someone else to take him. I want to be part of that experience. Going back to what Health Nut was saying about their kids and a legacy for their kids and health for their kids. I want to be there when he gets his license. I'll post it on my story. How about that? But I'm really proud of it. It cheers me up because he's my little guy. Like he used to be this little guy and he was all chubby and now he's like 6'3.5" and like, I don't know. Now he's like a man. This little chubby, little happy kid that loved Thomas the Train is now behind the wheel of a car as of this afternoon. If he passes his test, he's taking his test now. So good luck to Cameron. We're all going to send energy out to Cameron to get his license. And I send my energy out to all of you. And for those of you that took the time to share today, so much love to you. Sharing is the first step. So hang in there. You do have community. We all have community. And I will be back here next Friday at the same time. Much love. See ya.